All right, class. So today we are going to go over the test questions from the exponential functions test. And then you can do your retake immediately after. You can start that today. It will close on what day? Friday. So please make sure that you have between now and Friday to do your retake. Put Q4 at the top of your page. This is going to be page 8. Remember the problems 1 through 10 are in the previous video, yesterday's video that I posted on our page. So please make sure that you go back and watch that video if you need numbers 1 through 10. I'm going to do 11 through how many ever I get done. If I don't address your concerns, please let me know. I don't mind going back and making a separate video, but just let me know if I need to do that. So this is page 8. And this is exponential functions test review. And we're going to say this one is part 2 because part 1 is in the video from yesterday. So this is part 2. Okay. All right, we're going to start with problem number 11. We're going to start with problem number 11. I'm going to pause for the call so you can catch up. All right, here we go. Number 11 says, okay, got to look up here. Number 11 says, a certain population of bacteria doubles every 60 minutes, beginning with 50 bacteria, so that's starting amount, in the culture, and the population can be represented by this function right here. This is the equation. This is an exponential function, and I knew it would be because you're multiplying by 2 to get to the next number, okay? Where A is the number of bacteria, so A is the final or total number of bacteria, where T is the number of hours. Remember, T or X is always time. Which of these is the appropriate domain for the function A in terms of the given context? Okay, so which of these makes sense to be the X value or the time? Okay, so time represents the number of hours. So your number of hours has to either start at 0 and be greater than 0. Can't be negative numbers. So it says all real numbers greater than 0. This is a possible answer right here. That's a good answer because it can be a decimal. You can have a half of an hour. You can have 2/5 of an hour. As long as it's 0 or greater than 0, it's good. So this is a good answer here. All integers greater than or equal to 50? No, integers implies that there are no negatives in fractions. And we just said that you can have part of a half of an hour, okay? So no for B. All integers, and see, we're saying integers again. So that means this is, not a possible answer because you can have half of an hour or a third of an hour. So that's not it. All real numbers that are greater than 50. You can, what about the ones that are less than that? Okay, so this is not a good answer either. So our best answer here is A. Any questions? Number 12, which statement, and if I don't show any work, it's okay. I'm going to just put A right here and keep moving, okay? Number 12, it says, which statement justifies why, and this is a point right here. This is saying 2 as my X value and 1,985.5, that's my Y value. It is a solution to this equation right here. Anytime a point is a solution to it, that means that point is on that line. Since it's equal to, it's not greater than, it's not less than. If it was greater than, the point would have to be above the line. If it was less than, then the point would have to be below the line. Okay, so you don't see an inequality here. So anytime you have an equal, that means if it's a part of the solution, this point is actually on this line that is created. So we're going to read and choose the best answer. It says the ordered pair lies on the graph of the function. That's a good answer. Okay. The ordered pair lies below. This is not an inequality here, so it's not going to be below. If it was less than, and if this was a less than sign and it said it was below, then it would be the right answer. So this is not a good answer here. The ordered pair lies above. So if this was greater than, and this point was greater than that line, then it would be a good answer. But it's not an inequality, so no. The ordered pair is not a part. Well, if it's a solution, then it has to be a part of it. So this is not a good answer. So A is going to be our answer here. Any questions about that? Okay. So number 12 is also A. All right. Let's do number 13. Number 13, the treatment of the feeling, whatever, how do you say this? Anybody know how to say that? Hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah. After I done sounded out, everybody wants to tell me. That's how they do you, honey. Involves a single dose of radioactive iodine. Okay. It says the amount of radioactive iodine remaining following the treatment is shown in this table below. Okay. It's shown in this table below. It says how much radioactivity will still remain 20 days after the treatment. So we're going to type this in our calculator and get an equation, okay? So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Please have your calculator because it's so easy to do this in the calculator. So please follow me with your calculator. Make sure it's cut on. Let's clear it at second plus 712, and it's cleared. Just like we did a linear regress few months ago before Christmas, we're going to do an exponential regress. So we're going to type these values into the calculator, and the calculator is going to give us an equation. So let's do that. So we're going to go to stat, then we press enter on edit, and we're going to type these ordered pairs into the calculator. So these are my X values, these are my Y values. So my X value, 0, 8, and 16. So we have 0, enter, 8, enter, and 16. Please do this with me because you want to be able to do this on your own. So you, as I'm doing it, like do it with me so you'll know how to do it, okay? And then your Y values are 3, 1.5, and 0.75. So go over here. We got 3, got 1.5, and then we have 0.75. Okay? And press enter. All right. If I go too fast or if I lose you, just go ahead and tell me. Because remember, I'm here for you, okay? Go ahead, baby. Okay. All I'm doing is typing it in, so just press stat. STAT. Okay. And then do you see where it says edit? So you're going to press enter on edit. Do you see where it says L1 and L2? So you're going to type your X values in L1 and your Y values in L2. Do you see that here? X and Y. Are you okay with that? Okay, cool beans. Anybody else? I'm going to pause for the calls to make sure everybody have it typed. All right, so now after I type this in, look at where I go. I'm going to go here where it says stat. Look at my screen. Then I'm going to go over to calc. And this is not a linear function. This is an exponential function. So I'm going to go down and find expo. That's a shortcut for exponential. Do you see this? Exponential reg. This is where the calculator will create the equation for you. So press enter. Now I'm going to show you this trick that I didn't show you before because it's going to make life so much easier for you. And you don't have to, try to figure this out, a pattern and stuff. So I don't know what number it is. I just look for expo reg. I don't know what number it is. I didn't memorize the number. You don't see me. Let me see. I don't know which one. I don't know which version you have. You don't have the same version. You need to use here. It's not the same version. Yeah. Yeah, it's not the same version. I'll pause real quickly. Okay, so let's keep going, okay? We don't have a whole lot. So here you're going to press, watch what I do. Press the second button and 1. That's your X values. Comma, look what comma is. It's right above 7. Comma. Second 2, that's your Y values. Then press comma. Now watch what I press, okay? Try not to go too fast. Then after that, you're going to press vars, Y vars, and you're going to press enter 3 times. Vars, Y vars, go over to Y vars and press enter 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now, the reason why I did that is so that the calculator will automatically put the equation under Y equals. So go to Y equals and you can view the equation there. Okay. All right, so now we want to be able to see, it says what's remaining after 20 days. So now let's go to our function table, second graph, and this is 0 days. You see how in the table it has 0, and that's that. We go down to 8. If I go down to 8, look, I should get 1.5 like the table says. I go down to 16. 16's right here. And now they want me to go to 20. Oops. And 20 is 0.530. So it's this answer right here. So number 13 is C. I'll pause for the cause. What's your question, baby? I don't know what I did wrong. Can you bring me your calculator so I can see it? Number 14, it says, which linear equation would intersect, that means crosses, the exponential function, this is y is equal to x to the x power at these 2 points. We're talking about a linear equation, so that means you just write a linear equation from this. Shortcut, they give you the calculator, just do a linear regress. So that means go back to stat, edit, and let's clear these out. Look up, you see how I went up to the top, press clear and down, clear and down. And I'm going to type these 2 ordered pairs in the calculator. I have 3 and what, 27? Then I have 1 and 3. Just to save myself some work, because I would have to find the slope and then find the y-intercept. So the calculator can do all of that for you. Just type those ordered pairs in. You want to write a linear equation now that goes through these 2 points. So type them in, go to stat, calc. This time do lean reg because it's a linear equation. And just press enter. So this is the equation. Y is equal to, excuse me, mx plus b. So that's y is equal to 12x plus or minus 9. So 12. So for number 14, is y is equal to 12x minus 9. And the letter for that is B. Okay. Number 15 looks like this. A computer company is currently earning $400 in a profit a week, okay, and predicts the profit will increase by 5%. If it's increasing by 5%, That's exponential growth, okay? So it's starting here and increasing at 5%. So for number 15, you use y is equal to c parentheses 1 plus r to the t power. So your starting amount is that 400. Bring down to 1. And it's increasing by 5%. So write that as a decimal plus 0.05 to the t or x power. Okay? So this is the first equation. Any questions about how I got the first equation? No. I'm going to keep reading. The second one, it says the second company is currently earning $900 a week, but it's predict that its profits will increase by 2%. Okay? So this one is going to be the same exponential growth because it's increasing by 1%. So your starting amount is 900. 1 plus, and the percent is 2%. So that's point. So this is the second equation. This is the first one. For the first company, this is the second one. Okay. The question is, we got both of them now. The question is, how long will it take for the companies to make the same profit? So type them in the calculator to see when are they the same. Okay, so again, yes. Yeah, go ahead, baby. All right, so I'm going to clear my calculator. 2 plus 7, 1, 2. And I'm going to type these two equations in under y equals. So we got y is equal to 400, parentheses, 1 plus 0.0. Or I could have just added those together. Caret key to the x power. Second equation, 900, parentheses, 1 plus point, and I could have did the same thing, could have just added it, but I didn't, I don't know why. Caret key, x. So I type in both equations. Okay. So now I'm going to look at the function table to see when they are the same. So I press second and graph. So look at my function table and I'm looking to see when they're exactly the same. So here it's not the same. So go down. It's not the same here. It's not the same. Not the same. And I could just look at the answer choices because the answer choices will narrow it down for me. So I'm going to check in 4 weeks. So let's go down to 4 weeks. Look, this is 4 weeks right here. So at 4 weeks, they're still at different amounts. So that's not my answer. Let's go down to 6 weeks now. So at 6 weeks, it's still not the same. So let's mark out 6 weeks. Let's go down to 18 weeks. 18 weeks is still not the same. So mark 18 weeks out. And let's go down to 28 weeks. At 28 weeks, it's about the same. So 28 is our best answer. 28 weeks is our best answer. So answer choice is D. It's 28 weeks. Okay, and remember the key word here is approximately. So it's close to the answer. It's not going to be exact. All right. Pause for the calls. All right. So the next one, we're doing the 16. So this is 16 here. And guys at home, please don't hesitate to ask questions, okay? It says let me slide this over a little bit. In 1962, the average cost of gasoline in the United States was 31 cents. So that's what it was in that year, okay? The cost of gasoline, it increased. So we know it's increasing, and it's increasing by 1%. So this is exponential growth. When it increases by 1%, that's exponential. That's an exponential function. It's exponential growth. What is the average cost in this year right here? 1972. So my starting year is 1962, and 1972 is 10 years later. Okay, it's 10 years later. So let's write this as an exponential function, exponential growth. Y is equal to C parentheses 1 plus R to the X or T power. Okay, so my starting price per gallon is the 31 cent. Then we got 1 plus my percent that is increasing is 3%. So I write it as a decimal. And I want to know 10 years from now. So I'm going to put 10 as my exponent because it's 10 years from now. Any questions about how I got that? So now I'm going to type that in the calculator just as it is to see what my cost is going to be. So I have 0.31 cent, parentheses, 1.03. I added those together. Close the parentheses, caret key 10. See how I type that in? Okay, that's this. And then I press enter here. And this is what I get for how much it's going to cost in that year. I get 40, maybe about 42 cents. Okay. You see how I round it to the nearest cent? Because we're talking about money. So that's about 42 cents. Okay. So 42 cents is going to be C. So number 16 is C. And that's about 42 cents. Okay. Any questions? All right, let's look at number 17. It says the tournament begins with 64 players. Okay, that's the starting amount of players. Half of the players are eliminated after every round. So when you eliminate, you're going to get rid of. So how are they, half is being eliminated, you're multiplying by half or 0.5, okay? So you're going to place the numbers to complete this function. So this is where they go. Your starting amount is here, because remember this is exponential decay, basically. And I'll write it here so you can have it later. Exponential decay is y is equal to c parentheses 1 minus r to the x or t power. So your starting amount is going to be that 64 players, and half are eliminated. So you can do what percent is half anyway? What percent is half? 0.5 or 50%. Very good. So yeah, no, you're right. So minus 0.5. Okay, change that to a decimal. And then to the x power. Okay. Any questions about that? And so 0.5 is, of course, the 1/2. So are we good with that? Okay. All right. So now let's look at, and there's no, you just fill in the blanks. There was no A, B, C, D answer choice. All right. So 18, it says a geometric sequence. That means you multiply to get to the next number. That's a key word right here. Geometric, that means you're going to multiply. Okay. So your first number is 4. So your first number is 4. And here, you got to know how to read this part. What's being multiplied? 1/2 is being multiplied to get to the next number. You see 1/2, and it's automatically multiplication between the A. So it's 1/2 is, they're multiplying by 1/2 to get to the next number. So if I want to write this as an exponential function, because some of you might want to write it as an exponential function so that you can see it. Y is equal to A times B to the X power. My first number is 4. But if I want to work backwards, instead of multiplying by half, that means I would multiply by 2 to go backwards, or multiply by 2 to go backwards. So when I multiply by 2 to figure out what my starting number is before I got 4, that gives me 8. So my starting number, or my zero number, is 8. My common ratio, the number that I'm multiplying, is a half. And I raise it to the x power. Any questions about how I got that? Okay, so now use your calculator. If you want to see it, and type this in. Go to y equals. I'm going to clear out what I have. Let me just clear my calculator. 2 plus 7, 1, 2. That way I don't have to do a whole bunch of clearing. And let's go to y equals and type this in. 8 times, I'm putting in parentheses, 1/2, or I could have said 0.5. And I raise it to the x power. Okay. So now it's saying, what's the 7th number in the list? What's the 7th number in the list? So go to my table, second graph, and look for the 7th number in the list. So I'm going to go down to the 7th number in the list, and that's 0.0625 as a decimal. But my answers are written as fractions. So let me type this in to see what fraction that is. So that's 0.0625, and press the math button, and I can convert it to a fraction. And that gives me 1/16. And if you don't remember that, just divide these answer choices to see which one of these is this decimal. Okay? Just divide these answer choices to see which one of these is this decimal. All right, so your answer here is A. Okay? Or A is the answer. Any questions about number 18? Number 19, okay, it says the frequencies for certain notes are shown in the table. This is your table right here. Okay, it says frequency for notes. Note A, A sharp, B, C, and these are the frequencies. The frequencies form a geometric sequence. What is the value of the common ratio rounded to the nearest hundred? So we want to figure out what number is being multiplied to get to the next number. So work backwards and divide to see. So I'm going to divide to see what number was multiplied to get to the next number. So let me use my calculator. I'm going to say, working backwards, 46616 divided by is 440. And that gives me 1.05 and some change. It says to the nearest what? Hundredths place. That's 2 spaces behind the decimal. So that's 1.06. So 1.06 is right here. That's C. Okay. So 19 is C. That's 1.06. All right. Number 20. Number 20 says that Terrence is spending account balance is represented by this formula right here. This is the formula. Okay. Where T is the time in weeks. So T represents the weeks. What is his balance after 2 weeks? So we're going to plug in 2 for the time to see, okay, what the answer is going to be for 2 weeks. Okay, so we got the 100, parentheses, 0.9, close the parentheses, caret key, and we're going to raise it to the second power because it's 2 weeks. And press enter. So the answer is 81, C. So C is the answer, which is 81. Any questions about that? Okay. Number 21, it says, at the end of 2006, the population of Riverside was 400 people. The population for the small town can be modeled by the equation below. This is the equation below right here, where T is the number of years. T is the number of years. So T represents the years here. This up a little bit. Sorry, y'all. All right. Based on this model, approximately what was, wait, I skipped something, didn't I? Here's number of years since 2006. And P represents the number of people. All right, cool beans. All right. It says, based on the model, approximately what was the increase in population of Riverside at the end of 2009 compared to the end in 2006. So you have to do this equation twice, okay? You have to do it for 2009 and then for 2006. Do not forget that the starting year is what? What's the starting year? 2006. The end of, no, you're fine. 2006. All right, so let's type this into the calculator. Y equals, and we got 400, parentheses 1.2, caret key, X. This right here, 400 is the starting amount of people. Then is it increasing by? It's increasing by 2%. So that's how you, or 20%. So that's how you get 1.2 raised to the X power. Okay. So now if we're comparing the 2 years, let's figure out what it would be in 2009. How many years is it in 2000, from 2006 to 2009? 3. We really could have just substitute 3 in and called it a day. We really could have did that. But let's go to our table. And then we want 3 years after. Go down 3 years right here is 691.1 or 91.2. So that's going to be B because it's 3 years after. 3 years after. So this is our answer here. Okay. So 21 is B. Okay. 22, well, we're going to stop right here. Is there any of these, if you remember, any of these that you want me to finish up these in a video and send it to you? What would you like for me to do since we got to stop at this point? Please send me a message in the chat. I'm going to stop the video because I got to get cleaned up, okay?